Forget Yellowstone's next spin-off. I need a 1923 prequel about Helen Mirren's Cara Dutton. There's been a lot of talk about the next Yellowstone prequel, but after 1923 Season 2's finale, the story I'm dying to see is one about Helen Mirren's Cara Dutton. Spencer Dutton's aunt makes a fierce stand for their land at the end of 1923 Season 2, using Jacob's Harrison Ford elk rifle to defend the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch from Banner Creighton, Jerome Flynn, and Donald Whitfield's Timothy Dalton army. Cara is a sharpshooter in the finale, and her kills are crucial to the Duttons holding off its attackers until Spencer arrives to finish the job. Cara acts as a skilled sniper in 1923's finale, and it isn't the first time we've seen her step up and defend the ranch. In the opening scene of 1923 Season 1, Cara shoots one of Creighton's men who attempts to escape after the attack on the Dutton family, killing him with a shotgun. Helen Mirren's powerhouse performance proves that Cara is one of the best Dutton family members. Yellowstone's audience deserves a deeper look at who Cara is after her incredible role protecting Elizabeth Strafford, Michelle Randolph, and her family in 1923 Season 2. 1923 Season 2's finale looks at what's next for Cara after the Duttons defeat their attackers. While Spencer's wife, Alexandra Dutton, Julia Schlapfer, dies of complications from hypothermia, she lives long enough to deliver her baby, John. After Alex's death, Cara steps in to raise Spencer and Alex's baby, sending a Yellowstone ranch hand for goats so that the premature baby has fresh milk. Cara solidifies her future as John Dutton T's caretaker when she says goodbye to Jack Dutton's Darren Mann, wife as Elizabeth Strafford leaves the Yellowstone ranch, cradling the baby on the porch. While we know what's next for Cara, I want to know what came before her 1923 story. We know from Elsa Dutton's narration in 1923 that Jacob and Cara moved to Montana in 1894, assuming control of the Yellowstone Ranch after James Tim McGraw and Margaret Dutton, Faith Hill, died. While her time on the ranch certainly forged some of Cara's hardier qualities, I want to see a Yellowstone prequel about Cara's backstory before she moved to Montana. Cara is an Irish immigrant. Like Alex Dutton, she probably has an incredible story to tell, one worth hearing. After watching her hold down the fort for the majority of 1923's finale, it's safe to say that Cara Dutton is the most compelling main character in 1923. While her nephew, Spencer Dutton, is the straightforward hero expected to save the ranch, Cara's heroic role is just as significant. As a rancher's wife and woman past middle age, Cara defies expectations by playing such a major role in the tactical war, making her sharpshooting skills all the more satisfying. Zane Davis, Brian Girardi, underscores this in 1923's final episode, saying he thought the boys were making lucky shots. While Spencer saves the day in the end, a closer look at the whole of 1923 proves that Cara was the Yellowstone Ranch's hero all along. She cares for Jack's wife amid the horrible things happening to Elizabeth Strafford. She tends to Jacob's ailments, saving him from life-threatening gunshot wounds after Banner Creighton's attack. She steps in for Jacob at the Montana Livestock Commission, saving face for the Dutton family, while enacting a plan to provide the town with proper law enforcement. 1923's finale proves that Cara is the Dutton family's backbone, and there's more of her character to explore. Despite shining in 1923 Season 2's finale, Cara Dutton was involved in one of 1923's biggest disappointments. Since Cara is holding it down at the ranch, she's unable to meet Alex Dutton at the hospital while she's still alive. When Cara arrives with Spencer, she gives her nephew private time with his severely ill wife, opting not to meet Alex while she had the chance, which was gracious and wise. 1923's finale even makes the point that Cara doesn't meet Alex on two separate occasions, once at the hospital and once back at the ranch while she holds her baby. The dialogue highlights the disappointment that Cara Dutton never met Alex, reflecting how fans feel about the development. 1923's finale implies that they were alike, with Jacob referring to Cara and Alex as shooting stars. Many fans, myself included, would have preferred that Alex lived to meet Cara and the rest of the 1923 Dutton family. She could have told them her story and lived to raise her child as she helped Spencer run the ranch. Still, we could see Julia Schlapfer's Alex Dutton come back in 1944. Likewise, giving Cara Dutton more time in the Yellowstone franchise is worth considering. Let's be honest, Yellowstone's ever-growing Duttonverse is already a tangled web of grit, and more grit. From Kevin Costner's John Dutton dispensing gravel-voiced wisdom to the sweeping frontier sagas of 1883 and 1923, Taylor Sheridan has built a sprawling ranch of stories. But as the Yellowstone fandom holds its breath for whatever spin-off is next, whether it's about more cattle feuds or another stoic cowboy, you know what I really need. I need a 1923 prequel, but not just any prequel. I need one entirely about Helen Mirren's Cara Dutton, before the gunfire, before the ranch, before she was the matriarch holding a fractured family together, with little more than iron will and a loaded shotgun. I want to know who made her. Because let's face it, when Helen Mirren as Cara Dutton marches down a dirt road in her Irish morning black, calmly unloading bullets into a trespasser, you don't just wonder what she'll do next. You wonder what came before. Who was Cara Dutton before she became the woman who could put fear into grown men just by standing still? Picture it. Ireland, 1880. The skies are low and gray, the peat fires smoke in the chimneys, and a young Cara O'Reilly, that's what I'm calling her, just go with it, is growing up in a world where survival is an art form passed down from the mothers to the daughters, along with battered cookpots and secrets buried deeper than family graves. Cara isn't a girl who dreams of lace gloves and tea dances. She's the girl who listens at the door when the grown-ups are whispering about the British landlord, who knows how to sew a wound closed and how to read a man's intention before he even opens his mouth. She's not a wild child. No, she's controlled, clever, with a quiet fire that builds instead of burns. And she watches. Everything. When her older brother is conscripted into the British Army and never returns, she learns early what loyalty costs. When the land agent burns their neighbor's cottage to the ground, she learns the rules of power. She sees how her mother speaks softly in public, but sharpens words like knives behind closed doors. Cara takes notes. And then one day, a stranger arrives in town. Enter young Jacob Dutton. He's rough around the edges, all Montana swagger in a world of fog and famine. Maybe he's in Ireland buying cattle, or maybe he's running from something. He's out of place, but he doesn't care. He meets Cara at the town market, probably while she's negotiating the price of eggs like it's a high-stakes poker game, and he's instantly intrigued. Not because she smiles, because she doesn't. Not easily, anyway. They bicker. She calls him a brute. He calls her a spitfire. She challenges him in ways no one has dared. And she can outshoot him, which he discovers on a rainy afternoon when they make a bet over a row of tin cans. He loses. Badly. She doesn't gloat. She just smirks, and that's the moment he knows he's in trouble. He stays longer than he meant to. They start to fall for each other, not with grand declarations, but in shared silences, long walks, and the way she wraps his hand when he cuts it hauling hay. But this isn't a love story with easy endings. Because Ireland is turning dangerous. There are whispers of rebellion, of gun running, of men who vanish in the night and never come home. Cara has choices to make. Jacob wants to take her with him, to America, to Montana. But she hesitates. She's not some damsel in distress. She's deeply rooted in her homeland, in the soil her father is buried in the ghosts that walk their pasture. So what makes her leave? Maybe it's tragedy. Maybe the British come for her cousin, or her home is razed. Maybe she's caught smuggling something she shouldn't. Whatever it is, it's big enough to sever the cord between her and everything she's ever known. She leaves under the cover of night, crossing the sea with Jacob. But she doesn't come to Montana as a wide-eyed immigrant. She comes as a survivor. And that's the real beginning of her story. In Montana, the land is wild, and so is the life. Cara doesn't just marry into the Dutton legacy. She builds it. She's there hammering fence posts and pulling calves. She's there tending to injured ranch hands and chasing off wolves, both the four-legged kind and the kind who wear government badges and false promises. She becomes the woman we meet in 1923 because she has lived. She has bled. She has stared down men who underestimated her, and she has learned to keep her face still when delivering news no mother should ever have to speak out loud. We need this prequel not just because Cara Dutton is fascinating, but because she represents the unspoken history of women who didn't get the headlines. The women who built ranches while their husbands fought battles. The women who held together dynasties with no reward but silence and strength.